be for the one who has to eat it in Jahannam. Wal iyadu billah. This is in Tirmidhi and is hadith Hasan. Another food, ghaslin, in chapter 69, verse 35 to 37, it tells us, فَلَيْسَ لَهُ الْيَوْمَ هَاهُنَا حَمِيمٌ وَلَا طَعَامٌ إِلَّا مِنْ غِسْلِينَ لَا يَأْكُلُهُ إِلَّا الْخَاطِئُونَ. So no friend has he here on this day, nor has he any food except filth from the washing of wounds, which none do eat but those in sin. And this, wal-iyadu billah, excuse me for being so straightforward, it is pus. They will be drinking pus. There is also ghasaq. And it says in chapter 38, verse 57 to 58, yea, such, then shall they taste it, a boiling fluid, and a fluid dark and murky, intensely.
Greet you in the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mention both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Peace be upon them both, because they were both messengers of truth, reality, regardless to what people want to think. But you're looking at the Underground Railroad TV show, and we come on every Saturday night at 10:30. That's Central Time. We come on Comcast, Channel 19. So I want you to tell your friends to tune in. And the Underground Railroad is a show that is seen worldwide. The way we're seen on YouTube, we're seen on Google's, we're seen on Yahoo, AOL. The show that I have, and Brother Harold Davis is my co-host. He does a radio show on WGBX 1570 AM, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 2 to 4 o'clock. And you know what? You see these seats that we have up here? I have seats up here. And what I would like is for people to call me, people that have suggestions, people that have constructive criticism. Because if we don't listen to constructive criticism, we have an inability to grow. So if you have a suggestion, you have a thought about who you think would be a good guest to sit in any of these seats, give me a telephone call at 773-416-7555 or my email address at bradleyc79@juno.com. But I'm going to talk a little about everything today. It's something that I do called the XYZ factor, but since I don't have any guests today, it gives me the opportunity to talk about the Underground Railroad. Why did I do this? Why am I doing this? How did I get started? What inspired me to do this? And you know what? I got started years ago, even before the Underground Railroad came to my mind. I used to walk, be out in the community, talking to young people, even though I was young myself. If I would see crime going on or see people with inappropriate behavior patterns, I would try to get them to change and to correct their behavior patterns. And used to help politicians when I really believed in the political system. I really believed that they was doing what was right for the people, but I found out later on what they was doing is they was working to help the power elite. And I found out the assistance that I was given, I think that it was done in vain. I must say the majority of it was done in vain. And then after that, I was sitting up with my father, watching the Million Man March, the Nation of Islam, held in Washington, D.C. And I'm sure it's millions of you that have knowledge of that. And for you, those people that don't know about it, once upon a time, you may not have been born in that era. They may not have been conscious of it. There were 1 million black men that got together to try to change and curtail the behavior patterns of young black males so young black males could take leadership back in their families. If they were at odds with people, they can go back to the community to make things right with family members. And I was looking at the Million Man March, and I was looking at all these tremendous speakers come up, me and my father. We was looking at this, and I said, wow. I thought what Minister Farrakhan was doing was great. I thought it could have been an opportunity probably to create a political wing, but Allah knows what's best, not in some cases, but all cases. But anyway, it was a wonderful, it was a magnificent thing. And I said to myself, I think that's good. And I tried to think about things and what to create, and I started configuring things in my mind. And then, you know what, I was channel surfing. And what I mean by channel surfing is I was going to channel to channel to channel. And I turned to channel 19. I said, you know, I saw some man on there with big sideburns, a big turban, and then I saw other guy with a hat on and an African wearing. They were just disseminating information. And they were doing it for the betterment of the community. I'm going to say their names, Brother Boise Edwards and Dr. Malik Kufianen. I saw them on television. And then I began to say, you know what, this is a way to disseminate information and to uplift the conscious level of people. They were just doing a magnificent job. I think this was something like about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, or something like that. But before that, I could think of no better way to disseminate information than just talking to people on the corners, going block by block to try to get people to change their lives. But when I saw these two individuals on television, I said, I'm going to find out, how do I start me a show? So what happened is, I saw something on CAN TV about orientation, and that's for people out there that want to start their own show, because you know what, other people have other ideas. They have different opinions, different views. You may not be interested in uplifting conscious level of people. You may be interested in singing, dancing, and telling jokes. But this is an excellent opportunity to get your message out to the people, whatever method you may choose to use. I didn't mean to rhyme on that. And I came down here and went through the orientation, like the people that's with me, Lynn and Zazelle, Javaris, and Mr. Salazar, and took the courses that were necessary. And I said, it was funny thing about it, you know what, all the people that started out with me, it's only about 2 around here. And those what's his name? I forgot his name. Frank Avila and Sherry Avila. Those are about the only people that lasted throughout the whole class. So I guess in cable, many come, but many leave. And it's just a passion. It's wonderful to be able to come into somebody's dining room, come into somebody's den. I could even say, come on to somebody's car now, with the way television is. And be able to come on YouTube to disseminate information where you're just not seen in Chicago. And the people that look at me on YouTube, I thank you for sending me messages back. Because sometimes when this thing gets hard, when you think about throwing your hands up and just saying, forget it, man, I don't even want to do this anymore. Somebody sends you a message on YouTube. You say, wow, my work really has not gone in vain. And it's good to walk on the east side of Chicago, and I have to get out north and west and east, and I have to quit limiting myself to just the east side of Chicago to go around and start doing things in those areas. But it's good to walk on the east side of Chicago, not from an egotistical standpoint of view. I'm talking about it's somebody like giving you accolades, but I'm not talking about you sitting there clapping your hands. Oh, look at what they're saying about me. But it's an acknowledgement that your work is not going in vain. It's not being done in vain. And those messages on YouTube, I know some say you never get a dime for YouTube. That doesn't even make a difference to me. You know what? It's very important for me to disseminate my information that I think is valuable to the world, in the community, in a globalistic society, to get my word out. And the internet has been a very positive tool. And the thing is, you'll never know. With YouTube and Google's and AOL, you'll never know whose world or whose life that you impact. And thank you for all my YouTube viewers. I think Brother Lynn comes on YouTube, and Zazelle comes on YouTube, and they basically have positive things to say about it. I don't think I'm guessing on Lynn, though. But they have positive things to say about YouTube. And I don't know if they're saying it for the same reasons that I'm saying it. But these are shows that you must look at. You must look at Lynn Tucker's Solutions. And Sister Zazelle, Mystic Vibes. You got to look at these shows because you know what, although we might be coming from a different directions, but we are concerned about uplifting the conscious level of people, not just in Chicago, but in a global society. You know, well, with the touch of a button, the individuals can see our shows. And this is important, but you have to look at shows. They don't promote my shows, but I say all praises due to Allah. You got to look at shows like Brother Boise Edwards, Dr. Malik. You have to look at these shows because they're truly seeking to uplift the conscious level of people. I'm going to leave out some names, and it's going to be some people mad at me. And brothers like Leon Lovin, Mark Sims, FX, and I forgot the brother who Boise them comes on with in the morning. You know what? But the guy that just got married on television. You know, and Gino Matthews. You have to look at shows like this. But cable television has been good. It has been great. It has been a good thing. And I hope that by somebody listening to them, listening to this show, I would like to say to young men out there that are walking around with your pants pulled down to your crotch, please pull your pants up. Because you know what you're doing is you're disrespecting yourself. You're disrespecting the young lady that you're disrespecting somebody's grandmother, somebody's aunt, but most of all, you're disrespecting yourselves. That's what you need to do. And it's despicable. You know, I was once at a party one time, and it was like a little 3-4-year-old boy that walked into this party. It was a birthday party. And he had his pants pulled down to his butt, where you could almost see his crotch. And I said, you know what, when his father comes in, I'm going to talk to him. And the strange thing is when I went to talk to the father, guess what? His pants was pulled down to his butt too, and I threw my hands up. I said, let me get on out of here. It was really funny to me. And it's really not funny. And you have people out here that, you know what, you may see elderly people walking down the streets. I see younger people starting to throw bottles and throw rocks at older people walking down the street. I witnessed this and told these young people don't do that because one day this is not going to do you. That may be you. That may be your grandfather. And somebody may do that to your grandfather, your grandmother. But the thing is, since there's nobody giving instructions on how you should conduct yourselves, you may not have a father in your life, or you may not have a role model in your life. I'm going to try to be that role model for a half a minute. I want you to listen to me. Pull your pants up. Be a man. It's so bad now that there's women that's walking around with their pants pulled down to the butt. To talk to the mothers out there. If you see your sons doing things like that, you should attempt to change their behavior patterns. If you know that your son is selling drugs, you should try to do something to correct that behavior pattern. You know, you may be looking at the money coming in the household, but what you're doing is you jeopardizing your son or daughter being locked up for 10 or 15 years and then having an X on their back, walking around in society, not being able to get things that allow for them to survive in the society. You know, so, okay. And you know what? And something else enters my mind to young ladies. I want to send a message out there to young ladies. If you say that you believe in the Bible, you believe in the Torah, you believe in the EJL, you believe in the King James Version, I'm asking, since if you don't have a father out there, I'm going to try to give some fatherly advice for a minute. If there's a young man that comes to you and says that he loves you, but he wants you to do things contrary to what true love is by engaging in sexual intercourse with you, and you're not married, I'm asking you not to do that, because the brother that's doing this to you, he's demonstrating to you that he really does not respect you, and he does not respect yourselves. So if ladies that are listening out here that do not have a father and do not have a male role model in their lives, I want you to understand that these books that I mentioned, sex is for reprocreation and enjoyment, but it's not for boyfriend, girlfriend. It's for marriage. I don't care how much he says he loves you. I don't care how much he says he cares about you. I don't care about how pretty that he says you are. He's trying to take your ornaments so he can satisfy his sexual appetite. So, for young ladies out there, if a man is going to treat you like he's your wife, might as well be his wife. And you know what? I guarantee you that man would have more respect for you. He doesn't have any respect for you and does not have any respect for himself. And for young men out there, if you don't have a father in your life, if you have the type of father that walks around and snickers about all the women that you got to the side, and you sleeping with Jane and you sleeping with Martha and all that, what does it tell you about the individual that you call father? What does it tell you about his mentality? Do you truly think that that's the way a man should conduct himself in this society? If you believe in the books. Now, if you don't believe in the books, if you're an atheist, I think I could just about, I think that I could just about justify that. But you know what? You should look at your father in a different way. If he thinks it's okay for you, and gives you a little nudge on the back to be engaging in sexual intercourse with a woman that you're not married to, what type of man is that? That's not the type of man. That's not the type of man that you should have for a role model in your life. And he has some things just unbecoming. And I want to go to homosexuality. You know what? I've seen other TV shows, and you have individuals that say, you know what, man, it's okay to be a homosexual as long as they don't mess with me. And for individuals out there that are homosexuals, you are sick people, and you're in need of help, and you need a doctor. I'm not talking about a physical doctor. I'm talking about a mental doctor to figure out, because it was not meant for Jane to be with Jane. For lesbians, and Mike to be with Mike. So these type of people, I'm not even going to say what the Sharia law says. Sharia law says, because you know what, I would ask you to look that up for your own self, what the Sharia law says. But I think that it's unlawful, from a moralistic point of view, for a man to be engaging in sexual intercourse with another man. And it's unlawful by God's ordination for a woman to be engaging in sexual intercourse with a female. So individuals, the one or two people that are listening to me, I would ask if you would consider what I say and change and correct and modify your behavior pattern. Men out there drinking, women out there drinking. What you're doing is, in your Bible, it says that the body is a temple and you treat it as such. What you're doing is you're destroying your internal organs at a faster rate, but you're going to die anyway. But you're helping to make people rich that don't, excuse the expression, that don't give a damn about you one way or the other. By drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes and smoking weed and using cocaine and people being on rock. For people that don't have anybody out there to tell them that, this is a behavior that you really should be able to do without. There are more constructive things that you could consider, there are more constructive things that you could do to uplift your life physically and mentally, to get you out of the muck and mire that you are in. I want to go back to the Underground Railroad. I'm digressing. I would like for people that have suggestions. If you have an idea, you know what, call me up at 773-416-7555. Or if you don't have a phone, you know what, you can send me an email. Because the thing is, I'm going to start taking more suggestions from individuals that have input about the Underground Railroad. And a lot of times when you hear me holler when I get a telephone call, beat the drums. What I'm trying to say is beat the drums is I'm ready to take that telephone call, but you disseminate. This is what our ancestors did. This is what our ancestors did in Africa. They beat the drums when they didn't have the lines of communication like a telephone or a cell phone or something like that to disseminate information. So that when I say beat the drums, I'm saying, hey man, come on with the telephone call. So I want you to consider, if you want to be a guest on the Underground Railroad, give me a telephone call and we can talk about it. If you want me to talk, you have a specific message that you want to get out to the people, give me a telephone call, okay? But I want to thank everybody. I got 5 minutes. Want to thank everybody, for all these years of watching the Underground Railroad that comes on every Saturday night at 10:30. And I want to thank all my guests. And I want to thank all the people that was ever a crew for me. And if I don't remember your name, I do apologize. But I've been on the air for almost 7 years. I want to thank my crew members. These people have been instrumental to me. You know what? You look at this show, and there's seats up here. There are people that put these seats up here. There are people that put this table up here. So I want to say thank you to Brother Jose C. Salazar for giving me advice. Didn't always take the advice. Sometimes I got to have a tendency to be kind of stubborn and hard-headed. But he gave it to me right when I needed it, and I did listen to him. I think Lynn Tucker, who's over there by that camera right now, there's somebody filming me right now as we're talking. And Zazelle, when you look at pictures up on Underground Railroad, she's the one that's putting it up, And Javaris, y'all hear all this music in the background. He's like the mix master. He's the mix master. He's excellent at it. And Bill Gradonsky, I really got to thank Bill Gradonsky, because you know what? You look at all these shows, he has been around for ages. And his help has been instrumental. And I want to thank, also Keith McDonald. Keith McDonald was an excellent producer down there that produces television shows. But what I'm trying to say is, you see a lot of things that are going on, but you have to understand that the Underground Railroad is bigger than Brother Clifton, Raheem, Bradley. They're people that are working behind the scenes, and they have been doing it for years, and they're doing a damn good job. And I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Just recently, I was on Lynn Tucker's show. And I was so humbled by that. It was Lynn Tucker Solutions, because anytime you get the opportunity to come on somebody else's show to disseminate information. Anytime they give you a seat to hold a forum, I don't think it's something just to say the heck with it. And I do believe in reciprocation, because most certainly if he can allow me some of his production time to come on his show to disseminate information, why can't I do the same thing for him? But I have one thing that I have learned in cable television. There's people that tell you that they would do one thing and they turn around and don't do it. They said, I have you on because you had me on, but they really have no intentions on doing it. And we'll say, inshallah. It's a certain sister down here, cable television, but I'm not going to call her name. Inshallah, I have you on. And a certain brother down here, and I'm not even going to call his name, during the election, have me on, I have you on. And he showed me how disingenuous that he is. But if he's looking at this show, he knows who I am. But I have enough respect for myself not to call your name. And I'm not going to give you any more credibility than what you already have. And the same thing with the sister that always says, inshallah, I have you on. Both of these people are not right, but there's a whole lot of things that go on that goes on that is good down at Can Television. There are things that are going on that are bad at Can Television. And I want to send my thank you out to Dr. Boise Edwards and Dr. Malik. People don't know, I used to call them up almost every single night when I started the Underground Railroad, asking them for guidance and to be under their tutelage, because I truly did not understand what I was doing. And I'm grateful to them. Anytime they want a chair on the Underground Railroad, they don't need me. I drew water from their well. But I just want people to note that I am appreciative towards both of them. Anytime that they want a seat, they can come on Underground Railroad. And you've been looking at the Underground Railroad, and I've had the opportunity to disseminate information for 7 years, and I hope to do it 7 more years, but I hope to grow. I hope to be better than what I was last year. But I have a long way to go.
Another food, Ghasaleen.
Assalamu alaikum.
In chapter 69, verse 35 to 37, it tells us, فَلَيْسَ لَهُ الْيَوْمَ هَاهُنَا حَمِيمٌ وَلَا طَعَامٌ إِلَّا مِنْ غِسْلِينَ لَا يَأْكُلُهُ إِلَّا الْخَاطِئُونَ. So no friend has he here on this day, nor has he any food except filth from the washing of wounds, which none do eat but those in sin. And this, wal-iyadhu billah, excuse me for being so straightforward, it is pus. They will be drinking pus. There is also ghasaq. And it says in chapter 38, verse 57 to 58, yea, such, then shall they taste it, a boiling fluid, and a fluid dark and murky, intensely cold. This is ghasaq. And other penalties of a similar kind to match it. And so the obnoxious smell of the ghislin. Then there is hamim. وَسُوقُوا مَاءً hamim. فَقَطَّعَ أَمْعَاءَهُمْ. And they will be given to drinking boiling water. That's another of the drinks. Boiling water until it cuts their intestines and their insides to pieces. And so it will be a terrible punishment. And there are so many descriptions in the hadith.